Hello and welcome back to the WGL APAC. I'm still Rogie, but this time Jordan's taken a little bit of a break and we have Alex Blakey back on the desk to bring us Horsemen taking on B-Gaming.
Great, so Rogie, but I'm excited to be back, of course. Horsemen and B-Gaming, the next matchup we've got in store for everyone today. Should be an interesting one, I reckon, because so far, obviously, B-Gaming really struggling the start of this season, and well, Horsemen, they've been on a bit of a roll. So.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for B-Gaming to wake up, to show us what they're capable of, because they were such a force to be reckoned with not so long ago.
Yeah.
We say Season 1 a year ago, but it wasn't really that far gone, so it's only a matter of time before hopefully someone knocks some sense into these players. But Horsemen, they've been showing us a tanking at a very high degree of play, so they're going to be no slouches tonight, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely. The Horsemen, they're the ones to look out for tonight in this match, and it's got to be said, they're the ones to beat here, because obviously they've won just about all of their games so far, I do believe, and you know, they're sitting right up the top of the ladder. Only EL is above them from memory, and they're just looking really, really strong. Some of the changes they've made really have worked out well for them. So, leading into this one, I think it's going to be a bit of a mountain to climb.
Oh, definitely.
For B-Gaming.
Well, I think the biggest mountain that B-Gaming need to climb is themselves, because not too much has been going right for them since the start of Season 2, but let's focus back on the Horsemen before we go too far down the rabbit hole here, looking at their lineup and their defense win rate. A thing of beauty, 89% here.
89%. Look, the Horsemen are doing work with that 89% defense win rates, and well, they have made a few changes this season. Of course, Sphinx being one of the biggest additions to their roster. Of course, the old flag from EL Gaming, as he was known.
Well, let's take a look at B-Gaming here, because like we said, they are a great amount of play, like a really high-performing roster here. Just
yeah.
Not recently, 8% on that defense win. When you look at the opposing 80+%, you really got to worry for how B-Gaming fare tonight.
Yeah, and it's so strange because B-Gaming, look, they've played overseas just a few months ago. They were playing in the Challengers Rumble over in New York, you know, competing against some of the world's best teams. And look, while they didn't do amazingly over there, they certainly looked a lot better than they did right now. And yeah, it's just really, really shaky to see them having started off this season like they have, which is really very slowly.
Look, if we get anything going right for us tonight, I really hope it is seeing B-Gaming back on form, because they used to provide us with some of the most entertaining games.
Well, they are the entertainment tankers.
That's it, right? So come on, entertain us, please, because right now it's getting a bit abysmal, and don't mean to post you guys as the punching bags, but it's looking that way right now. So Horsemen, though, on the other hand, it's regardless of how well B-Gaming do tonight, Horsemen are going to play spectacularly, I'm sure.
Yes, well, that's what I'm looking forward to here. Looking forward to seeing how the Horsemen play in this matchup. You know, any kind of new things they can throw at us in their map pool. Obviously, they played quite well yesterday. Very convincing win, and quite well in week 1. So overall, I think B-Gaming, like, the issue is I'm not too sure how much they can have changed in the since we last saw them, of course.
That's it, right?
Which, it's really, really hard. So my prediction for this one, I do think B-Gaming might be able to kind of step it up a little bit. I've written down 5-3 on a prediction sheet, but I'm actually going to change that to a 5-2.
You're thinking it's 5-2. Jordan also saying a 5-3, but he's already backflipped on one prediction tonight, so we can't hold him too strongly against that. I've gone with 5-1 for the Horsemen. I think, like he said, B-Gaming, there just hasn't been enough time for them to really not only address, but fix the issues that they're having in their roster. And Horsemen, they've just been going from win to win, and I expect them to get themselves another one tonight.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt about it. Hopefully for the Horsemen's sake they do, but B-Gaming going to be trying everything they can to stop them. Here we are, we've got the map picks in store for everyone. First up is actually going to be Prokhorovka, map that we don't see too often between these two, but there you go. And Cliff, again, a map that has really been started to get picked a lot more this season compared to last season, where we often only ever saw it on number 4 or on the tiebreaker map.
Yeah, very interesting rotation of maps here. Ghost Town, Mines, and Muravanka, should we get that far, will be the ones rounding us out tonight. But no, I like that you mentioned we have been seeing Cliff pop up more and more. Back in Season 1, it was kind of a treat to watch those fast batshot plays. But now it just seems that teams need to start putting this in their repertoire and adapting to what is quickly becoming a very popular map.
Yeah, absolutely. Cliff, definitely one of the most popular maps so far this season. Prokhorovka as well. It's been kind of so-so, I guess. We have seen some teams pick it. Obviously, TCZ, it's probably their favourite map, or at least their highest win rate map so far. But yeah, in terms of these two teams, we're probably going to be expecting a bit more of a faster play from Horsemen on Prokhorovka. You know, they're going to be going those medium tanks. They're going to be really getting into B Gaming's face, and it's going to be up to B Gaming to deal with that, I think.
Yeah, and I think when B Gaming have the pressure put on them, that's where they're weakest. They really seem to be a little bit clueless with where to go and what to do next when they're forced to make those split-second decisions, either rally their defenses or barrel down a lane and attack. So hopefully for them tonight, their communication's a little bit more clear, a little bit more concise, and they can really find themselves tonight.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm really hoping that my prediction is completely wrong and we see this one go all the way out to a tiebreak with B Gaming ending up to take it in the end, because that would, you know, really mean a lot for the rest of the teams. I mean, everyone would have to step their game up a little bit and we would have high level of competition, but so far it definitely feels like B Gaming, you know, they've fallen back down the stairs a little bit roguey. So, yeah, we'll wait and see though. Time will tell.
Yeah. Second last game of the night, last night of the week. So they really only have this opportunity before we have the bit of an extended break here to show all the fans at home why they are the entertainment tankers and really give us something to root for tonight.
Absolutely, that's right. So I'm sure there'll be lots of fans rooting for B Gaming at home, particularly because they are, you know, one of the two Japanese teams in our league this season, of course, as they were last season. And you know, I know on Twitter we've got, you know, a massive Japanese fan base that always, you know, gets in with the hashtag WGL APAC, always gets behind their team. I think B Gaming at BGaming_WGL for anyone that you know, wants to follow them, but they might want to make sure that they can get people following them.
Yeah, they're having a rough time of it at the moment, because one of the things that fans love is when their team wins, and not winning tends to turn them away in droves. So hopefully for the sake of B Gaming, they can get some exciting games in, get some wins tonight, and really put themselves back up a little bit on the leaderboard, because they're currently sitting in 7th position. Not a place you want to be this early on.
No, definitely not. 7th is not a place where, you know, we thought we'd see B Gaming coming into this one, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. So B Gaming, I mean, it is up to them. I don't mind those maps for B Gaming. If B Gaming can come back on Mines, if they get it that far, then that's going to be a good little map for them, I think. Prokhorovka, oh, it's hard to see Horsemen not going to on.
I feel like it's one of those maps that really favor the teams with the coordination, and Horsemen have shown they have one of the best in the league, and they're really those high-value contenders that could potentially go all the way to number 2 and maybe even give EL a run for the money sometime later on down the track. So if they can show up tonight and pretty much get a win that they are expected to, there's no reason they can't cement themselves even further up on the leaderboard. Yeah,
that's right. But of course, Prokhorovka, it is a very wide open map. Long passages to shoot down, of course, up the 1 and 2 line. If we see teams pushing towards that 1 flag, could see a hill pushing towards that 2 flag, just on the other side of the railway as well. Lots of places to go here on Prokhorovka. It's one of my favourite maps, I think. So we're very excited to see how these two teams kick it off.
We always see a lot of variety coming in, maybe some Arties, maybe some S-Tanks. We saw one earlier on today on Prokhorovka. But looks like pretty standard stuff across the board. Only the grill kind of standing out for B Gaming here.
Yeah, not amazingly varied lineup. They're fairly cookie cutter for both sides. Horsemen, though, going with the Object 430. So
there you go.
Yeah, really prioritizing that high damage per minute Soviet medium tank over another autoloader. They've got the STB-1 as well, which I really do like here on Prokhorovka. Can get around a bit and puts out just about 3,000 damage per minute. And the IS-7 on the defensive side, again, it's probably just going to be sitting hull down somewhere and holding the fort, so to speak.
Right, jumping into game number 3 of the night. Horsemen taking on B Gaming. B Gaming on a little bit of a lost streak here, hoping to regain some of their former glory. But they are up against the Horsemen, who are on a bit of a rampage and showing no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, that's right. So right now, Spencer on the rollout will be sitting in this bush, just getting a little bit of early scouting out. He has deployed that camo net, and he has got the 5% crew skills as well, so it's going to be very, very hard to spot in that little German Tier 8 light tank. In the meantime, the other German Tier 8 light tank, T4, on the other side, is going to be getting some early spotting out on the hill. Hasn't managed to see anyone just so far, because Horsemen, they're actually set up in quite a defensive kind of spread here near that one flag for a standard one flag defense, Rogie.
Yeah, they're fanning out quite wide, but like you said, they have the majority of their tanks kind of situated around that ABC 1, 2, 3 line here. So if they can just hold that, get the spots down, keep their lines focused, there's no reason why they shouldn't have a quite easy defense here, because B Gaming, they've got kind of like teams of 2 with, like you said, T4 kind of scouting out that 2 flag. Not really sure what they want to go for now.
Yeah, interesting actually that they are kind of having a bit of a buddy system here. It's not something that I remember them doing too often so far this season, or even last season on Prokhorovka. But I like where Yusuf Power was sitting. He's sitting all the way at the back here, and just tries for a shot on Gorilla. Not going to be hitting though, which is a little bit disappointing. Although in 5 seconds he gets to try again.
It's 100% of the shots you don't take, so hopefully for Power he gets himself another one. Ooh, so narrow, but the accuracy on the grill makes up for those difficult shots. But Gorilla.
Oh, he had the green there. He had the green crosshair, so he had to go for it. But it's going to be another miss, and it sounded like he was maybe firing AP there, which I don't know about trying to fire AP into an IS-7's turret, but always worth a try, I guess. And unfortunately, I think that was the loader of Gorilla going down. He is going to be repairing that up, I do believe, although he doesn't actually have a repair kit. So going to be going with the double kit instead.
Big Colin and Nondasu both taking a shot here. Tiltimatu doing a great job of keeping Gorilla spotted out, but Gorilla, he's spotting 2 of them at the meantime. Colin just off to the left, finally evading his sights here, but no real aggression coming out of either teams. We've seen the grill. The only thing that's really been going well for Horsemen, well, not going well, but going for Horsemen rather, you can see T4 might be running straight into OBOV.
Yeah, potentially right now. I think T4 does have to be a little bit careful here in this RU251. As we can see, all of the Horsemen there, yeah, T4's been spotted, so both Nundesu and OBOV going to be able to take some shots on towards him, and just like that, Nundesu, I always thought that was another shot coming in towards him, but a fairly slow start from both teams at the moment. We can see here Nundesu with 1987 average damage so far. Oh.
Gets clipped, but gets behind the rubble just in time. Another shot. Doing a little bit of landscaping nearby, and T4 somehow managed to get himself out of that one. Thought OBOV would have had no trouble hunting him down. That guy's been ruthless in the past games for the Horsemen here, but still a little bit of a standoff. Tiltil and Gorilla just both kind of holding that incline to hopefully get the spots off should anyone come over the hills here. Colin gonna be firing a few, not finding its mark though. T4 and Taki going to be rotating back to bolster the B Gaming forces, so they might be going for a push any second now.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's seeming like B Gaming now. They've had a bit of a scout. They know where Nundesu is. They know where OBOV is. They know that Horsemen have actually got at least that one member OBOV on the right side of the rail track. So if they decide to head back and go for a committed 6-man push up the 1 and 2 lines there, then that could be a thing that works out for them while they, rely on OBOV not being around the place, not being able to join the fight, rather. So, it's looking like that's what they might be doing as Tiltil Matil moving up now.
He's taking a lot of shots here, but no damage, actually, so hopefully the side of Horsemen can start leaving a mark, because right now he's just getting free blocks at the moment. The rest of the team scurrying in behind him. Nundasu and OBOV nowhere in sight. T4 as well on the other side of the map. So if B Gaming can find an angle here. They might be able to make something happen. Power gets a kill with the grill onto Spencer. He goes down. So a 7 versus 6 in favor of B Gaming. This could be exactly what they needed.
Yeah, it could be a great little start here for B Gaming. We can see on the minimap OBOV rotating. Oh, good kill there by T4.
Look, if they are able to get some momentum here against the Horsemen, we could be seeing the B Gaming of old coming out strong tonight. Horsemen just taking shots from left, right, and center. Archon is almost dead. Gorilla goes down. This is excellent stuff coming out of B Gaming. They're doing the correct push. They're hitting their shots, and they're focusing the targets well. It is a 7 versus 3, and it may be too early to say, but it's looking like B Gaming could be back here, Alex.
It's looking a lot like that, Max, and I think B Gaming here, they just used so many of the Horsemen's shots in the Horsemen's bat chats that just did not go through. You know, they baited them into it, and right now the Horsemen, they only have 3 tanks left. Make that 2 as Yusha Shampao takes down Hawks. There is no way for the Horsemen to come back from this.
Look, starting the series off with a perfect game would be amazing for B Gaming, as Happiness just runs straight through the building. They're crushing some poor individuals home as OBOV, the last player left alive for the Horsemen. But what an immaculate performance for B Gaming, coming out of the gate very, very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're just going to clean up OBOV now. I think Horsemen, they've really got to kind of shake their hands a little bit and make sure that they're awake, because this match, they haven't really looked very awake. They just let B Gaming push all the way in towards them. All of their bat chats missed too many shots, and you know, barely dented that 113 that was barreling down towards them.
Got to go for the star points in the
brilliant.
end. The last kill, that's all anyone ever remembers, so Power going to be racking up a nice one on that. But great stuff from B Gaming coming out of the initial round. But now here's the challenge. They've won 1 round every single map they've played, but that's about it. They got to win 4 more.
That is the issue, right? Exactly. B Gaming, look, they have looked sort of somewhat close in some of the maps that they played, you know, so far this season, but that's not going to cut it. They need to do that again and again and again and again until they get to that 5-game mark, and that's been the issue for B Gaming this season. But look, let's not take anything away from that win.
Oh, of course not.
Very good start from B Gaming, a cohesive push. I really liked how they took their time to get vision of the map, get control of the map before they decided to make the push in. That was smart play. So if they can continue that, Horsemen are really going to have to be on their game.
Now let's take a quick look at the replays to see what went right for B Gaming and what fell apart for the Horsemen.
Okay, so yeah, this was the early bit, and Spencer died. That's fine. And after that 113 just didn't take shots, and all of the bat chats of Horsemen didn't put out as much damage as they needed to. It was as simple as that, and we're going to see that reflected, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
On the post damage shots. Yeah, there we go. The top damage dealer for the Horsemen, 1,600 damage, and they've only got 2 in the top 7.
They're really not finding their marks tonight in the first game. So like you said, hopefully they can shake off these first game jitters and warm themselves up a little bit coming in to the next side here, because that was a little bit of an abysmal performance, not getting a single tank down. So there's going to be 0 kills for every single person on the Horsemen. Not something we're used to saying since we've been singing songs of praise based on their most recent performances.
Yeah, absolutely. So B Gaming, in the meantime, looking very, very strong. And again, the Object 430, whenever we see it picked, it almost always kind of universally does badly. I think statistically, you know, it's sitting on something like a 0% win rate. Yeah, it is. Overall, which is not what you're looking for, obviously. So
yeah, OBOV just adding to that.
Adding to that, exactly. You know, it's like you look down at a little stat sheet, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that one's grayed out. Why is it grayed out? Oh, because it's 0. Like, yeah, I think there are better tanks than the Object 430. Another STB, even another bat chat. Like, they don't do the exact same thing, but it's kind of close enough, I feel. And on a map like Prokhorovka, where there's nothing wrong with an STB if you want that kind of constant damage, not just the auto-loader burst.
Sure.
Yeah, but anyways, the end of the day, B Gaming taking out that win there. Going to hold them in good stead for this next half. And I really felt as though Prokhorovka was going to be one of their biggest issues for B Gaming. And yeah, they've just come and show us that they know how to play that map at least.
That's an interesting point you raised up. Both of us going into this map really thought this was Horseman's kind of one and done, expecting to come into the map number 2, a 2-0 fashion for Horsemen. But here we are, Big Gaming up 1-0 at the moment. Now, they're not out of the woods yet. They still have another round on Prokhorovka, so we could definitely see Horsemen turn it on and turn it around and come back to tie up the series. But that game, that wasn't even close, that round. That just looked like Big Gaming had control from start to finish, even with T4 overextending a little bit and finding himself in the wrong neck of the woods, and they just went for a very strong push. The 113 just surviving what seemed to be a lot of shots there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a lot of shots coming in, and perfect angling of the 113 as well that we saw from B Gaming. So great little bit of individual mechanical play there by, I forget who it was. Maybe it was T4 or...
I think it was Til, maybe.
Til, might have been Til, exactly. But, you know, either way, B Gaming looking quite strong leading in towards this second half. And, well, I did call this one 5-2 to the Horsemen, but already that's looking a little bit shaky. And I'm not going to flip-flop because I already technically flip-flopped in changing it to 5-2. But, well... For my sake, I hope the Horsemen can come back and just slam the foot on the pedal, so to speak, and start running over B Gaming. But,
it's not too late for them to come back and make this a 5-1, because we know Horsemen, they're a very strong team. They have a very strong lineup of very skilled tankers here. So all they need to do is get that momentum back in, get into that mindset that they've been channeling that's enabled them to be one of these best teams. But if B Gaming are somehow able to continue the upset, keep their momentum going on into the next few rounds. Like I said, it's too early to call, but hopefully for B Gaming and all the Entertainment Tankers fans, we could be seeing them maybe back in true fashion.
Yeah, hopefully. I think that's definitely what their fans are going to be wanting here, Rogi. And, well, there's one way to find out if B Gaming will be doing their fans a service or a disservice. I think I'm sure that all of the fans in the Japanese Twitch stream, of course, we do have not only this English stream, but we have twitch.tv/WGL_JP_TW and _KR for Korea as well. So we've got a whole kind of legion of fans across all of the APAC region, which is always great to see. And big shout out to our other APAC broadcasters as well. So, but right now I've just had a voice in my ear tell me that the tank lineups are ready. So guys, let's jump into those and see what we're going to be seeing on the second half of Proc.
Alrighty, so 3 bat shots for either team here. We see the Kranvargen coming out of B Gaming. So great to see them finally picking up this tank, as we've seen some of the more successful teams are the ones that have mastered it.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like this this Kranvargen pick here by B Gaming. Can definitely work well on Prokhorovka. I like it in place of a second T110E5 or just in place of any second heavy, really. They have gone with a T110E5, which, again, everyone knows my feelings on, but overall, pretty solid lineup from the Horsemen as well, if not a bit more cookie-cutter standard.
Oh, let's see if Horsemen can bounce back, because B Gaming, they give us a very dominating round 1, taking it without dropping a single tank. You can already see Power and Spencer spotting each other here, but Spencer, he gets a 2-for-1 spot onto Colin as well. We'll see if T4 can do a similar job, but without God Vision, we know that he hasn't seen anyone just yet.
Yeah, T4 right now, just hiding it out in the bush, seeing what he can have a look at. That's going to be not too much right now. Horsemen, well, they obviously must have liked what B Gaming did to them last round, because it's seeming like they're setting up for the exact same thing, a good old-fashioned 1-to-2 line push.
Paul's going to spot it, though. He's in the perfect position to do so.
Yeah. He's quite far up. I know that last game we did have Spencer fairly far up as well in the RU251, but they will have a bit of early warning on the Horsemen's side. The other reason I like this push is that when Horsemen do pull the trigger on this one and go forward, which they're doing now. Oh, yep. They're going to be able to get some good shots on towards those hold-down tanks if they get far enough up. They're going.
Oh, my Lord, Gorilla. He's just gone from bad to worse right now. T4's got to book it out of there, but Gorilla, he's super low.
He's tracked.
OV, he needs to be that man shield right now. Sphinx coming up as well. This is looking bad for Horsemen. If they can't get the return damage on a huge shot onto T4, crippling him by all means. Now, Spencer, he's frontlining for the squad right now in the tier 8. If he can get off a few shots, then maybe it might be worth it. But I think his job on the battlefield is done as he gets sent sky high. Sphinx, he needs to come through here, get a few shots onto Power, maybe make it work.
Yeah, maybe, but look at this. All of the Horsemen streaming up right now. We've only lost one tier 8, so lots of health still on the field for B Gaming. Horsemen need to put some damage down. They have failed to do so far. Almost lost Gorilla in the process of getting up here, and well, now they do have this good position up behind the bushes in that one line. They really do just need to focus fire on some targets and get them down. But now, B Gaming's bat chats have reloaded.
B Gaming, they're looking like they want to just hunt down the remaining members of Horsemen right now, but OBOV and Sphinx, they might want to go for the first strike advantage. Going to be going for the push onto Power, and I don't know who that is to his left, but they're both trying to get some kills here. Colin and Happiness are able to get 2 kills apiece right now. Hawk, he's going very low, but he is going to back up to make sure he's safe. B Gaming, they should be having this one in the bag as they still have 5 tanks alive. Tiltil Matil gets very low, but Hawks, he falls straight after.
Yeah, easy peasy there for B Gaming. They're just able to completely eliminate the Horsemen. They had all of their bat chats reloaded, everyone on full HP when they went into that push, and the Horsemen right now are struggling a lot. It's going to take a big effort from them to come back in towards this. Now, particularly that grill has been spotted. It's not what you want to happen. And Desu there, he has just been despotted. But now 5 tanks up for B Gaming. Only 3 left for the Horsemen.
I think it's time for the Horsemen to count their numbers here, as they're only down to 2 tanks left. Archon and Nundasu in the grill. Probably not going to get a lot done. Maybe a kill onto Till, Colin, or Happiness. But Rukusum and Taki should have no trouble cleaning up Archon and Nundasu once he's on the reload here. But B Gaming, they're on the defense, so they don't have to do either of those things.
Yep, exactly. That's right. They are in no rush. They're not constrained by time. B Gaming, look, they can just take their time, reload. They've still got, you know, that 2 bat chats, that Kranwagen on the field as well. And I mean, at this point, the Horsemen don't have many options. I mean, they could take out Tiltil Matil and Happiness and turn it into a 3v2 fairly easily. But the issue is, as always, they need those spots. And they're going to have to come from Archon in the bat chat. He's on full HP, does have pretty good sort of setup for spotting there. But I just do not see the Horsemen being able to come back into this.
It's very difficult to conceive a way that Horsemen find a leg up over B Gaming right now. And to pretty much everyone's surprise, B Gaming coming out 2-0 any minute now. Nundasu is able to get a kill onto Colin, but I think it's all too little too late as Archon. Very low. There he goes. Just destroyed.
Yeah.
As Nundasu might get a return one onto Til, but as we've mentioned, the remaining members of B Gaming should have no issue cleaning up the lone grill.
Yeah, no issue at all. And with Nundasu's last shot there missing, should just be a matter of time before this tier 10 German tank destroyer ends up going down. I think Riku-san there in that Kranwagen is going to have a fun time polishing off the grill. But yeah, there we go. Who would have thought, Rogie, that we would be seeing
not me
a 2-0 to B Gaming to start us off on Prokhorovka up here against the Horsemen.
Definitely throwing our predictions out the water already, just showing up a revitalized B Gaming. And what went wrong for Horsemen there? Because they did a very similar push to what B Gaming did.
Well, you're right, they did, but they didn't quite start off the same as B Gaming did. They didn't really send that tier 8 light tank all the way down the hill, all the way down near that spawn of B Gaming's rather, to kind of scout it out a little bit. They almost forced that push without having much map control, without having much map vision on the other half of the map. And if they had actually done that full scout, they would have realized that there was actually no one from the Horsemen's, no one from B Gaming's side on that eastern half of the map. And so when they pushed in, when B Gaming did end up defending the push in from the Horsemen, then all of B Gaming were there, all of B Gaming were ready. The Horsemen got spotted out so far back that B Gaming had ample warning. They had all of their guns trained on them, and the 113 of B Gaming, whoever that was, just got absolutely torn to shreds and instantly tracked. You know, he was stationary for a good 6 seconds because obviously he used his first repair kit, didn't have a second one. Maybe that was a mistake as well, not doing a double repair kit. That's how it worked.
Let's have a look at the replays to see if Exactly, that just happened because we can see as they this is kind of the aftermath of the failure that was the Horsemen's push, and you can see on the minimap B Gaming, it was over from the start. They had all 7 of their tanks, like you said, lined up, ready to shoot as Horsemen came up the 1 line and 2 line respectively, and not too much there, but we were kind of going over before this game talking about it. We expected our Horsemen to actually veto out Prokhorovka because they haven't had too much luck on it. I think this is the first time they played it this season before this weekend, of course, and B Gaming has seen some success. So obviously, Horsemen struggling a little bit here.
Yeah, struggling a lot here, the Horsemen. But, well, someone who wasn't struggling was Nandesu in that Grill 15. 4.3 thousand damage. To be fair, he was the last person alive as well. But
you
I'm
always
sure
pad your stats a little bit towards the end.
Exactly. And apart from that, B Gaming looking pretty good up the top. Papinus and even Colin in that IS-7, 3.2 thousand damage. That's a pretty fair effort. Tiltil Matillan, the T110E5, you know, he's got to be happy with himself getting about 1,600 damage in that one. But unfortunately, Gorilla, he was the one that got tracked early on in that 113 and absolutely destroyed. 0 damage dealt, 5 shots fired, and he basically did nothing that game.
It's a very scary prospect when you've completely spotted out, but you're blind going and firing shots off left, right, and center, just hoping that you can connect one into the forest there. But no luck for Gorilla tonight, and hopefully coming into this next map, they'll have a little bit more oomph to their pushes.
Yeah, hopefully they'll have a little bit more.
That's what they're lacking. That's what they're lacking here. It's really just they tried a very similar strategy, but like you said, the scouting just wasn't there. The information has kind of been the theme of tonight. What's made and what's been the making and undoing of some teams. When those scout tanks are able to relay numbers, positions, that's when the rounds can be very, very convincing. But when you're going for a blind push and just kind of expecting them to be there, you can wind up like Horsemen.
Exactly. Well, that's what happened to the Horsemen right there, and hopefully on this next map that we're seeing in the pool here, Horsemen can pull it back a little bit together and at least give B Gaming some competition, because these haven't been, you know, super close matches. No. Those 2 ones on Prokhorovka there, Max. We've seen, you know, like crazy matches where most of B Gaming's tanks have been still alive at the end of it.
Look,
yeah, crazy.
We find ourselves in a very tricky situation here because a funny spot actually where now we're giving B Gaming all this praise, saying these are one-sided affairs. Coming into this, if you have told me that B Gaming would have started us off with a very convincing 2-0 lead against the Horsemen, I called you crazy and laughed you out the studio. But right now, making us eat our words, I'm really hoping that B Gaming can continue this trend and it's only up from here on out.
Yes, well, hopefully B Gaming are able to do that, but of course, there's only one way to find out. We do have to think about what tanks we might be seeing, of course, heading into our next map here. I know that in that last one, Prokhorovka, of course, we did see some fairly standard tanks picked from both teams. I did like the Kranwagens, however, picked by B Gaming. I really think that's a sign of them kind of adapting to the those new tanks, adapting to the preferred playstyle of the region, or as we call it, the meta here. But it is time to head on to our next map, which will, of course, be Cliff.
Yeah, we've seen the Kranwagen come out on Cliffs earlier on today, but it did get shut down a little bit by, I think it was Meltdown taking on Team Efficiency. Team Efficiency tried to utilize that. Meltdown just found it out immediately. So not sure if we'll be seeing the Kranwagen be coming out here. Probably just the meta. Ton of bat shots, just chuck them on Cliffs, drive around like a madman, scale some walls, shoot some guns.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Have some fun.
All Max, we've got, well, bat chats, but also the M40, M43 as their tier 8 pick for the Horsemen. So locking in that tier 8 American artillery piece with a very high alpha damage. If that one lands a shot onto any of B Gaming's bat chats, or, well, any B Gaming's tanks full stop.
That's right.
Then they're going to be sent sky high in no time. But B Gaming, the only difference they're going to be rolling out with is that T49, which, you know, some teams prefer the T49, some prefer the RE251. But on the defensive side on Cliff, the T49 is not too bad because you can get into that sort of pre-fire position a little bit easier and a little bit quicker.
And Horsemen, they really need something to pull themselves out of this rut right now. So jumping into map number 2, Cliffs. B Gaming, to everyone's surprise, except for, I'm sure, their own. They're very confident in their own ability. Up 2-0 over the Horsemen, who have been showing us nothing but wonderful tanking here. So the eyes are on B Gaming to see if they can keep up this momentum, because we know Horsemen, very, very strong team, and at the drop of a hat could completely turn this series on its head and end at 5-2, and we wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, we are going to be seeing some early scouts coming in from B Gaming. T4, this is actually a very, very, very aggressive push up there by T4. Not often that we see teams on the defense push a tank all the way up to G3, which is interesting, but Till going to be holding back there. We've got Yusha Power here. He's made his way a little bit up the mountain to get some scouts happening, but overall a very sedate start here from the Horsemen.
You know what I think it's time for, Alex? I think it's time for a quick listen in with the revitalized roster of B Gaming.
ごめんなさいごめんなさい。
見られないあいつが見てたわ。
オッケーオッケー
登ったおもっちもこれいけると思うけど、
登れんだったら
登り出
登ってほしい
したら
な。パッと見えた。
あと。バレた。
俺ここ茂み入ってくるのちょっと怖えな。
ここ注意してね。
ここかな多
あ、
分。
これつく。うん。
今見てはいるけど見えない。
段差があ
あり
ります。
そうだな。
ここ通してるよ。
下がってった、ゴリラ。
ちょっとこう岩張りつくか。
こうやってバレるとき登んない。もう下が
あ、
って。
T4 さん張り付くとあれだから。
登った
それでも、
いや
あ、いとかさ、ダメそこって。T4 さんのところって。
アーティから遮ってる。
遮ってんな、大丈夫。で、こっち側取られてない
いるんだ
と思うから。
ったら大丈夫。
アーティ降って
で、上登ってるんだったらこっち側とか見れないかな、上から少し。
アーティまだ1回も降ってないですか？
降ってない。見えない。
いや移動してる。
こっち登ってると思いますよ、今。
T4 さんは何に撃たれたどっから
これここ。
どうするこっち見る
ちょっとだけ出てんのに撃たれた。
見てほしい、ちょっと。危険じゃないんだったら見てほしい。
10m 取ってるな。
見えたわ。見られた。ここね、あそこから。
And you can hear B Gaming, a lot of chatter going on. Hopefully our Japanese fans out there do appreciate that. We're listening to more than just the English teams. Give everyone a chance.
And look at that. We can actually see, in the meantime, Yusha Power in that bat chat just blind firing where he thinks Spencer might be in that artillery piece. But yeah, it was good to get a bit of a listen in there to B Gaming. Obviously keeping the comms up, which I think is always crucial.
You can see Horsemen kind of struggling to find anyone right now. Well, as I say that, they got a few good shots onto Shinozaka and to Taki. T4 as well, taking a beating. OB, only one from Horsemen that's taken a little bit of scratch right now. We see the customary duel around the lighthouse. Everyone wants that control over the map. T4 takes another big hit. He's got to be careful.
He does, Mr. T4 there. So he's going to be retreating a little bit, but in the meantime, up on the lighthouse, we almost had a bit of a scuffle up here between Archon and Shinozaka, but not going to be the case. I don't think we've seen much of an impact from that artillery piece of Horsemen's just yet, Spencer, that M40. You could see him earlier on, he was aiming in at the bat chat, but I don't think that was the arty that hit T4.
No, it just seemed like a stray shot from one of the Horsemen members. Yeah, very slow start to Cliffs as we're almost reaching that halfway point in the map. So Horsemen on attack might have to start doing a little bit more than sitting back and biding their time here. Could it be Gorilla? Wants to make the play, waiting for OBOV to rotate around.
Yeah, I like this play here from the Horsemen in a way, as long as they don't do it for too long, because they're not giving up their artillery piece for free. They've had Gorilla kind of sit back there, you know, scout out for the arty and make sure he essentially stops any of B Gaming from coming back in to push the artillery, which is good. But now the clock is ticking, so B Gaming need to, Horsemen need to think of a way to actually push into B Gaming.
It's got a while to go with here. It looks like OBOV has made the rotation over to Gorilla. So Ryukyu Summon, Matil along with the very weak T4 may be in the sights here. But Where are the rest of the Horsemen going to go? Sphinx takes a shot to the backside as he's going for the rotate. This could be what the information that B Gaming needed to kind of call out this push.
Yeah, that's not great for the Horseman. Having Sphinx spotted as he made his way over there, then, you know, it's just a dead giveaway. Now, B Gaming know exactly what is happening with those tanks that were around that cap area for the Horseman. And, well, now Sphinx, he's been spotted out heading in that direction as well. So, not great, but on the plus side for the Horsemen, they have taken T4 down very, very, very low in that bat chat.
Time's not on their side, though. It's getting lower and lower, down to 4 minutes. So they've burnt 6 minutes off the clock. Props to B Gaming for mounting a solid defense here. But here come another 3 members of the Horsemen. Oh, the same 3 members onto Horsemen, but they do get spotted out by Churchill. He gets a big shot into Gorilla, lights him ablaze, and that's going to take him down to about half health, struggling to get that one out on time. OBOV now leading the charge for the Horsemen, but I feel like the damage has been dealt as B Gaming continue to keep these 2 members spotted.
Yeah, excellent little slowdown there by Tiltil Matil on towards, that was Gorilla. Now Tiltil is going to be retreating to a better spot so that he can get another shot across with that T-49's massive derp cannon. Meantime, we do also see some shots fired up on the hill, but overall this is a much slower push than Horsemen would have wanted.
Ooh, Power narrowly avoiding a shot coming out of OBOV, deciding not to take that one, waiting for the most accurate shot possible. Does he want to go for this? Be a little bit of a cheeky one. We see Tiltil Matil in the T-49. That little snub-nosed tank always roaming around the maps.
Yeah, Tiltil Matil there with 1288 average damage. And obviously being...
a huge 99 block.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously being one of our... lighter tank players, lighter to medium tank players, not blocking a great deal. But you know what? Actually, this is something that we haven't seen so far from B Gaming. It's actually Tiltil Matil back in that tier 8 light tank.
Because I felt like it was familiar to me, but I don't remember in any of the past games this season seeing him playing.
Yeah, because he hasn't, because they put T4 in the light tank. So really good move for B Gaming, and I think, well, obviously
back
this
to their
game...
roots.
Yeah, back to their roots, and this game is far from over yet, but they've got off to a good start. Tiltil Matil, he's played a great role in spotting out that push from the 3 Horsemen bat chats and getting 900 damage onto one of them.
Gorilla takes another shot to the head as he's forced, or the turret rather, and well, the tank's here, as he's forced to back himself off a little bit. Attacking OBOV, just standing there ground, attacking, he takes a big shot.
Whoa.
Might be a little bit of trouble here.
What is Taki doing? I've no idea what he's doing pushed over there, but he wasn't even pushed over. He's literally just been caught out a little bit. But I don't know what Horsemen are doing. They need to actually go soon. It's 1 minute and 50 seconds left. The Horsemen are on the attack.
Yeah.
It's all well and good playing slow because you have an artillery piece, but like there's a time when you do have to pull the trigger, and that time is like now.
That time was like 3 minutes ago, it feels like. And yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. They were just waiting for Spencer to hopefully get a pop on one of the members of B Gaming, but it's cost them the entire time here. 1 minute 20 left on the clock. They're really running out of options. They need to go for an all-kill or a 2 to 3 cap, or else they just have kind of just let this map go.
Yeah, and it's what it feels like right now. Instead, it's seeming like B Gaming is going to be making the move here with Rickusham and Tiltil Matil coming up here to see if they can deal some damage on towards Gorilla right there. And seeming like Tiltil's probably going to be going down soon.
Well, they really need to get some shots off here. There goes Gorilla. You can see T4 up in the A5 at the moment. All he needs to do is sit back and relax, kick his feet up. But this could go bad if Horsemen are able to get 3 on the hill. You see Nundasu, he's actually gone hunting for T4, who's been spotted out now. Only 4 members left from B Gaming. Have they choked it on Cliffs once again? They lost a 6 versus 3 to team efficiency yesterday, and I really hope that we're not going to be seeing this happen again.
Yeah, well, it's looking a little bit like that right now,
Till
except this
should
time.
Be fine, though.
Oh yeah, except this time B Gaming are the 3, and look, they're trying to cap right now, the Horsemen, but instead they've realised, well, we probably don't need a cap because there's only 3 B Gaming members left. But the issue is, for the Horsemen, there's 15 seconds left to take them down. And Tiltil Matil, no one's going to take him down. They can't win.
They just took too long. They didn't even play the game, and Power at this stage can just tumble down the mountain. You can see everyone slowly scaling their way down, but B Gaming allow the time to go down to that 0 mark, giving them the win here. And terrible, just terrible stuff out of Horsemen.
What was that? Like from
8 minutes of just blundering around.
Yeah, literally doing nothing. Like, Horsemen, please. What are you doing? Like, seriously, I don't know whoever was making the calls there for the Horsemen, but that was a bad call. That was a bad call, excuse me, waiting to go that long into the map, waiting to attack for that long. You know, they knew that all of the B Gaming lineup were light. They didn't have eyes on every single member of B Gaming. It's not like they could say, okay, there's 7 of them in here. We're just going to come around and finish them off in 2 minutes, easy peasy. They didn't even go at 2 minutes, which is the crazy thing. Like they went to a minute 30.
It was B Gaming that made the push in the end, and it's funny because the last 2 games we've seen B Gaming playing very well, but this was just Horsemen playing rubbish. Playing so slow. At a snail's pace here. And we often joke that World of Tanks is one of the slower esports games out there, but this just gives it a bad rap. Come on, Horsemen, you need to step up your game. When you're on attack, you actually have to do just that, and attack.
Yes, exactly. Horsemen not attacky on attack. I mean, they really need to think about why that happened there. B Gaming, I mean, walking away with effectively a free win. They weren't looking too badly earlier on, B Gaming, so at the end of the day, maybe they might have even been able to commit to an all-out brawl and potentially win it, but end of the day, just too slow from the Horsemen.
Now, I'm going to be amazed if our guys on the replay were able to salvage anything out of that very long game, but they work wonders over there. So let's see what they got for us in store, and it is going to be the B Gaming push on that 1 minute mark. 10 minutes and everything's condensed into the last minute.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's so funny even seeing that B Gaming was actually the one that
the aggressors.
Exactly. B Gaming was just like, okay, well, we're probably going to win anyway because they've left it too late, so GG lol. Let's just push. Yeah, there we go. Post-battle stats. Sphinx up the top. Doesn't really matter. Taki in that TVP did a little bit. And Spencer, for a 10-minute game, literally it went for 10 minutes and he was alive, you'd want to be dealing more than 1,600 damage in the artillery piece, when that is literally the whole reason that, or the only vaguely conceivable reason that the Horsemen waited for so long.
Yeah, that was the out, and they were banking on Spencer to hit the shots, get the early kills, give them the number of advantages that, frankly, they didn't even need, but they wanted. They got greedy. They thought, okay, this is our game plan. We're not going to change it. Greedy and stubborn seem to be the 2 deadly sins that they fell to this game.
Yep, exactly. So
maybe sloth is a bit more appropriate.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But overall, look, OBOV Hawks there in the bat chance, dealing about 1,000 damage each for the Horsemen. Didn't really matter. Taki, look, he got 857 in. It was pretty much one shot that went through there. And yeah, really good to see Taki actually back on that T49, back on that Tier 8 light tank. And who knows, it could be part of the reason why we are now seeing...
We're seeing a correlation here. Taki back on light tanks, B Gaming back on top, potentially 3-0 up against Horsemen. And we're going into the second half of Cliffs any minute now. So this is a chance for them to really cement themselves. If they are able to get this 4-0 lead, there's no reason that they can't just, you know, make it a nice swift 5-0.
Yep.
Give us an early night tonight.
Yeah, well, maybe. I'm not too sure if it's going to be that easy though, because Horsemen after that, surely they're going to be wanting to, you know, get one on the board.
Hopefully it's fired them up.
Hopefully it's fired them up, exactly. Because if that didn't fire you up, I mean, honestly, I would be so interested to see what Horsemen was saying in their comms right there. It's like they've got 7 players on their team. They've got 7 people in TeamSpeak. So you've actually got to have a kind of joint decision by 7 people that was the right move to make.
Let's jump into the second half of the map, starting, of course, with the tank lineups. We'll see what these guys will be rolling onto the battlefield with.
Okay, oh, we've got the E50s again.
Interesting.
I think B Gaming actually brought out yesterday or the day before, potentially yesterday even, on Cliff here. And we've seen them do kind of okay. They weren't amazingly impressive, but the E50 isn't a bad tank. You know, it can work pretty well. It's got a good little bit of frontal armor, a little bit slower, a pretty solid gun that doesn't have any trouble going through the sorts of tanks that you run into on Cliff.
Yeah, that's a great point. I feel like B Gaming, they know what they're doing right now. They're playing quite well, but to bring us back to why Horsemen lost that game, they lost it themselves. So the first 2 rounds, you could chalk it up to B Gaming playing well, but that was a plain and simple Horsemen blunder. So hopefully that's kind of opened their eyes to say, we're not going to win this series by playing passive. Let's go back to that Horsemen style that we know and love to watch as we're jumping into the second half of Cliffs, where right now B Gaming, if you're a B Gaming fan, you're happy because they're up 3-0 over the Horsemen.
Absolutely. So right now we are going to be seeing B Gaming head up towards the cliff with 3 of their bat chats, I believe. The E50s are just heading a little bit behind, which is totally fine. E50, of course, a lot slower than any of the other tanks on the field. The bat chats, the TVP and the T49. Now going to be seeing B Gaming maybe going a little bit aggressive towards the 2 flag. They've got Shinozaka and T4 pushed up there in their bat chats. Happiness making the climb in his bat chat, being the mountain tank.
It always amazes me how agile some of these tankers are getting up these cliffs. It's a daunting. I was practicing just in the obs, trying to do some of the things these do, and they make it look so easy. It is not. It is very difficult to amateurs like myself.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They do not make it easy. Guys from, well, not only B Gaming, but anyone here in WGL APAC. But look at this, we are going to be seeing a bit of an early push. Oh, as we were saying, they make it look easy. Happiness does actually fall down. But look at this, we have got a push coming in from Til, Shinozaka and T4.
What do they want to go for here? They haven't been spotted out yet, so they still have the element of surprise. Bring in one of those E50s round as well. Undersuit. Narrowly making his way up and defying what seems to be gravity right now to stay on that slope. All 3 have been spotted out. Shot coming through. Smacks it right onto Til Matil. And Nundasu takes one for his trouble. But that's going to be the spot for our Horsemen, giving them all the information they need to set up defenses.
Yeah, so pretty even trade so far. Not going in any one particular direction, but look at this Til Matil in that E50 getting very, very aggressive, and Spencer's actually taken a lot.
He gets down to about 350 HP at the moment. Happiness is going to be coming up, at OV gets him right in the undercarriage, doing a good chunk of damage right there, but we see 2 tanks falling, 1 on either side. Taki and Spencer have gone down. That's an E50 for a T49. Trade I'm sure Horsemen are happy to make at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at this. The fight's still going on up the top. That will be OBOV that makes it on top of that one. B Gaming, they've lost 1 tier 9, 1 tier 10 tank so far. And Yusishan Power is 1 shot from death. So really not off to a good start for them. They need to take those low HP members of the Horsemen down.
T4 starting to get plastered right now. He's looking for a shot onto Sphinx, but he can't find it. Til Matil and co are on the 2 flag here. If they are able to get some good shots while the members are distracted, then they may have a good chance of coming back into this. But T4, he's completely spotted out, so it's only a matter of time before he goes down. Horsemen, they have the man advantage here, and here comes Hawk. Going to be raining fire straight on the front of Til and Shinozaka.
Yeah, good little push there from the Horseman. We can see Gorilla still not spotted in his bat chat. Good to see Shinozaka has the fire extinguisher there, but it's not going to be enough.
You can't extinguish that, mate.
No, absolutely not. You can't extinguish a shell going through your tank.
Oh, Power trying to get a few shots up onto the hill, but Sphinx says none of that, mate. Shuts him down, and we may finally be seeing Horsemen get themselves on the board here as they have a 6 versus 2. Even though Rikisam does have full health, he only has 4 shots. He's got 4 shots left in the clip, so maybe he's able to take out 1 or 2 of the low health tanks before he ultimately meets his demise. But Til Matil leaves him to his lonesome. 1 versus 6. Not a snowball's chance in hell. Only a matter of time for Horsemen.
Yeah, no, we've seen a, 3 versus 6 before, but a 1 versus 6 is just a little bit too much to ask, and particularly with Hawks now coming in with that full clip in his bat chat, we are not going to be seeing anything work right there.
Oh, Horsemen, they take out the second half of Cliff, bringing the series up to 3-1. B Gaming still with a very sizable lead here, but we're going to be coming up into Ghost Town on our next map, which should be very difficult for B Gaming to take it to Horsemen, as we've seen it often favors the more experienced rosters.
Yes, absolutely, Ghost Town does. But look, overall, there on Cliff, I think it was interesting to see B Gaming actually go for those E50s and,
and
go for that 2
push.
Yeah, like it didn't at all because, you know, they pushed in towards that 2 flag, and I think that TVP was already in a pretty decent position so that when those 2 E50s in the bat chat that B Gaming had pushed up towards that 2 flag got spotted out, I think it was Gorilla for the Horseman in his bat chat. He was in a perfect spot behind a bush, didn't get spotted out when he was just unloading clip after clip into those B Gaming guys, and they tried the cap. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a cap victory like on Cliff like that work out at all.
A bit of a desperation strategy it did seem, but they backed themselves in the end. Unfortunately for them, didn't work out. So, Horsemen now finally breaking the streak coming out of B Gaming, so their momentum now shifting into their favor. Hopefully coming into Ghost Town, they can show us a little bit of that oomph we said that was lacking. But let's have a look at the replays that really showcase what went wrong for B Gaming.
Yeah, let's have a look right here. So, OBOV there just getting a nice shot on towards Happiness, and you know, at this stage it really was just too late for B Gaming. They had already been kind of taken out. So, yeah, there we go. And in the post battle, we do see Hawks up the top there for the Horsemen with 2,800 damage. Mr. Sphinx with 2.5k as well. And to no surprise, Rogi, we've got 7 bat chats up the top.
That's it, right? And Gorilla pumping out 2k damage whilst remaining unspotted the entire time. You really have to give credit where credit's due. And yeah, on a map that's completely populated by Batchat, it is no surprise to see them topping the tables on Cliff. I wonder if we'll ever see some new fast tanks coming in and kind of knocking the Batchat off its high pedestal there. Be an interesting future for tanks this year, I feel.
Who knows? Maybe some crazy Swedish medium tank with like an auto loader and strong turret armor and super high speed would come along. Who knows?
Variety's the spice of life, my friend. So we've seen it. We've seen our fair share of 5 to 6 Batchat on Cliffs. I do want to see a little bit of a mix-up eventually, sometime later on down the track. But nonetheless, as this second half of the table, you can see those E50s really not paying dividends.
No, E50's not doing a great job there, particularly Tack in his one. 382 damage, 1 shot's worth of actual damage. He just got absolutely slaughtered on that flag once the Horseman pushed in towards it. So not a great little map there for B Gaming, to be honest. A little half of the map.
True.
After starting off fairly strong. Yeah, but look, they are still leading in the series. It is still 3-1. So Horsemen, they have a big uphill climb to come back into it.
Well, Ghost Town's a great place as any to start that climb. Now we've seen Horsemen. They've shown some mistakes. They've shown some greatnesses coming into Ghost Town. Alex, what do you think we're going to be seeing out of this squad to rekindle the fires?
Rekindle the fires. That's a good one. I think that we are probably going to be seeing some super heavies from B Gaming coming into here. They might be picking an E100. They might be picking even a mouse. They have been known to on Ghost Town here. And I don't think we're going to be seeing too many of the newer tanks from them. Probably not going to be seeing an S-tank. Probably not going to be seeing the UDs from them. But the Horsemen, on the other hand, they maybe, you know, we might see something like the Kranwagen from them. We might see, you know, an UDs.
Well, that's the thing. We've seen a lot of Ghost Town over the past few days, and when teams are running those Mouse and E100s, it's not working out for them. They're often the teams that are getting that L, and it's the teams that are adapting, using the S-Tank and the UDs up on their those good vantage points are the ones coming away with the W.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw earlier today how much damage something like a well-placed UDs can do.
Yeah.
In our first match of today, up on the kind of overlook on Ghost Town. So hopefully, I would love to see it again. And with any luck, we'll also see the reverse bump UDs. Which I don't know whether that fits into the category of the utilitudes, because it's kind of using its utility of like having an engine that can go backwards to like slam into it. I don't know.
There's a lot of interesting things coming around that, and I think that was one of the highlights for the night, seeing the big bonk at the end to kind of round us out. But I really think the teams that are utilizing these new tanks and kind of new mechanics to the game are the ones that are going to be getting ahead here. So coming on to Ghost Town, I hope that either of these teams have adapted, but only see the Kranwagen.
There we go.
Out of B Gaming in terms of new tanks.
Okay, so B Gaming, they are going to be going with that one super heavy, the 1E100. They are going with the Kranwagen as well. No UDs, no S-tanks. Horsemen, very standard. They're going with two 113s, AMX 50Bs, a Batchat and an RU251. So they've got that French Tier 10 heavy auto loader, 3 of those in the AMXs, 2 of those Chinese Tier 10 heavy tanks in the 113s. Very solid all-round, fast tank. But I like B-Gaming setup more here, Max, I think. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got a little bit of speed. It's got a lot of damage. It's got a little bit of kind of bulk with the E100 and the Kranwagen. Good for it.
Yeah, we often see the AMX 50Bs really reigning supreme on Ghost Town, but it's great to see the Kranwagen coming out and contesting that spot as well, even if it's just running in 1. So hopefully it works out for B Gaming. You can see Spencer very early up, just trying to go for a little bit of a cheeky strat here, forcing the hand from B Gaming quite early.
Yeah, very, very cheeky there by Mr. Spencer on that 2 flag, putting the pressure on towards B Gaming very early on. I don't think that B Gaming are going to be too worried about that, and for good reason. So there is still 1 minute and 30 seconds left, and it is the 2 flag, which we very rarely see
Victories
kind of work.
Yeah. Well, you can see a lot of spots coming out. Sphinx getting a few over onto him, but they spotted out Spencer, so they know where he is. It's only a matter of time when they decide to pull the trigger, go for the reset here. That crane going to be providing him the cover he needs for now. So we can see maybe Horsemen kind of want to loop around, go for a flank up near that D line here, should they continue that avenue of approach.
Yeah, interesting to see this sort of a setup, because we haven't seen the defensive team head south of the 2 flag in quite a long time, but that's exactly what where B Gaming are kind of forced to go here. Now that Spencer has got off the cap though, we are going to be seeing, this is clever. Okay, this is clever from the Horsemen. Suddenly their trap has kind of sprung a little bit. They're going to be sitting Gorilla on this flag. I wouldn't be surprised to also see them put Spencer on it for a bit of a faster cap, and now they just have to close off the streets, put the city on lockdown so B Gaming can't get through.
Yeah, as we see Horsemen, the best laid plans. Hopefully it goes well for them right now, but we have a listen in with said Horsemen to see how they plan on rounding out this round. Riveting stuff, Alex. You can see they're all so laser focused and concentrated. None of them want to break that meditation level there and be the first to talk. Obviously, maybe having a little bit of technical issues there. But if the series continues on, we should hope to bring you some more. Listen in with the Horsemen. You can see Sphinx taking a big shot to start things off here. B Gaming already taking a few themselves with 62% on that cap. 45 seconds left on the clock. B Gaming do have a lot of time to break this one, but
look at this, 2 tanks on fire! Oh no, Hawks and OBOV, I'm pretty sure they've just both been set on fire. That's so bad for the Horsemen there. And B Gaming, they've still got 6 tanks up. Horsemen are looking wounded. The HP advantage is in B Gaming's favor, 1.7 KHP and closing.
This is looking bad. Horsemen in full retreat right now, but look, they have 7 seconds left on the clock. It's all up to T4. He needs to go for the reset. He needs to make his shots work. He gets the reset with 2 seconds to go. That was a nail biter and a very close finish here, but B Gaming 5-4 in terms of tank advantage, 3k HP up, should have no trouble hunting down the remaining members unless Horsemen can come up clutch.
Well, in saying that, Taki is actually reloading, Yusashan Power reloading as well, so they've still got a little bit of battling to do, B Gaming, to finish off this one. Horsemen have actually still stayed on the cap. I think that might be a bad move there from Gorilla, and Archon there in that AMX 50B. He's still looking pretty healthy. Nandesu in the bat chat. Full clip left. He's going to take one from the Kranwagen as he takes off that WZ-111. But right now, it's going to take a little bit of smart play from B Gaming to finish this one off.
4 versus 3 right now. We've seen crazier things happen, especially when B Gaming have the advantage. We know these guys are prone to a little bit of jitters and nerves and going in when they shouldn't, but this time it's a completely different story. But the Kranwagen takes a big shot, 700, but here comes the E100. How do you pronounce that? I keep messing it up.
Yusashan Power.
Yusashan Power. He unfortunately goes down, but Taki picks up Archon in the midst of that one. Now all that's left for B Gaming to do is hunt down Nandesu and Gorilla.
Yeah, there we go. Well, actually, in fact,
Ooh,
Taki's just been
no.
taken down. So
Rickasam's low as well. Could be Gaming have blundered it once again. Horsemen, they only need to take out Rickasam, who's on 27 HP. One shot could do it. Here comes the E100, but Nandasu, he's hunting. Can he smell blood?
Oh, this Batchat cannot be allowed to stay alive. They need to take down this Batchat here. And T4 in that lumbering heavy shoot. He needs to get the shot. Easy shot. Easy shot. And, but it's still
Reload
probably...
though, or a shot out of Rickasam. That could be just what they need.
Cheeky, but now Rickasam's been spotted out, and we are going to be surely seeing Nandesu come around soon. He's not spotted. There he is.
Oh, Rickasam, he just needs one more. No, he can't get the reload up in time. So Nandasu versus
One-on-one.
T4. The E100 against the Batchat. All T4 needs is one shot. But here comes Nandasu. He's got 4 in his clip. He wants to go for the all play. He wants to be a hero. He's got the mobility as well. He can just completely keep darting around. He could very well do it. One more shot could be all he needs. He's got the 4th one in his chamber. And Nandasu clutches it up for the Horsemen, taking the series up 2-3. What a comeback. We said B Gaming had the potential to mess these things up, and just like that.
346 HP there on Nandesu. What just happened there? So close. Oh my god. Oh, I don't have words, Max.
Look, we don't need these anymore because that game just threw it completely out the water. What a great play by Horsemen to clutch it out in the end. I got to catch my breath after that one.
Okay. Anyways, like, yeah, to get that far in the end, and that was honestly not always going to happen, but it would. Like, if the E100 was just off the reload, there was just a window of time when the E100 was on the reload where the Batchat could actually get around behind him, and the Batchat used that time and got behind him, got those 4 shots off. He had the exact right amount of shots left in the clip, and was able to do it. If he missed one of those, that's it.
The stars aligned and allowed Horsemen to come back for what seemed like an inevitable defeat. B Gaming once again choke out a very sizable advantage. The first time was a few days ago when we saw them lose a 6 versus 3 on Cliffs. This time a 4 versus 3 onto Ghost Town. So coming into this next half, hopefully that hasn't been a big blow to their confidence here, and they can win the game, because they got 2 fires. Very lucky start to that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Very lucky indeed. 2 fires on the engines of those Horsemen tanks. But let's take a look at some of the key fights in that one to see how that sort of shaped up. There was a big ammo rack there on towards Sphinx that helped out a lot, of course, for B Gaming. And in this one, they did get the reset off. It was a great little reset there for B Gaming.
They had the 5 versus 3.
Yeah.
Huge clutch out of Horsemen. Nandasu gets the first one to kind of start off the stars were aligning. They just needed to wait for one more, and you can see a 3 versus 1, but they took too long.
I don't know how Taki went down there. Like, Taki went down almost without being...
instantaneously.
Yeah.
And this was the clutch play here. T4, reload time too long. Nandasu too fast. He could have darted around him indefinitely, but it didn't matter. As you can see,
oh, yeah. So disappointing. So disappointing there for T4. But anyways, well played by Nandesu. And look at that, almost 5,000 damage in the Batchat. You know, with 15 shots fired, that's almost every one of them hit. Only missed a couple, or ricocheted a couple in that one. So very fair effort. Archon as well in that AMX 50B, 3.2 thousand damage. Riku Sam in that Kranwagen with 2.7k as well. So some good damage numbers across the board.
A lot of huge plays coming out of the Horsemen that time around. Nandasu and Archon, like you mentioned, really topping the tables on that one. I want to see what they decide to go through with in that second half to kind of cement the deal here, because if they come out of this tying the series up 3-3, B Gaming could be in a lot of trouble here.
A lot of trouble. And look, Sphinx there with that ammo rack, he's only dealt 387 damage. I think that was honestly such a massive issue there for the Horsemen. Just unfortunate. Sometimes that RNG just does not go your way, and I think that was definitely one of those times. So Sphinx definitely going to be looking forward to the next game, but currently 2-3 to B Gaming.
Yeah, Big Gaming, they had everything going right for them that game. They got the ammo rack, they got the double tanks being set on fire. It just seemed that for them, luck was on their side. But unfortunately, in the end, Horsemen coming out with the win that realistically they shouldn't have gotten. They clutched that one out and just showed superior tanking and just a knowledge of what their tanks are capable of. Like the E100, he just couldn't keep up with that bat shot. Even when he got off the reload, just too slow.
Exactly, it was as simple as that for the Horsemen, and well, I don't think that they can have any more luck. Like
gifted. Yeah, they can't be gifted anything more.
Exactly than what we just saw there. So from now on, it's got to be all skill that that wins them the games. But yeah, in this next one, let's take a look at our tank lineups for the second half here on Ghost Town.
Looks like similar stuff coming out of B Gaming, but chucking in the WZ-111 to round things off here. Horsemen once again going for the triple AMX 50Bs this time around.
And there we go. So liking B Gaming lineup again. I don't think it was an issue last time. I think their actual tank picks worked quite well.
Oh yeah.
So
this came down to a mismatch in the end.
Yeah.
That Shaq got the jump on the E100 and couldn't do too much. It takes me back to the quick brown fox jumps over the brown lazy dog, it felt like.
Yep, a little bit. Okay, well, I'm going to be seeing if the quick horse can jump over the entertainment tankers. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does
it? Look, it's got heart though, Alex, and that's all it needs. And B Gaming full of heart right now because that's all they got going for them. But Horsemen down 2-3, so they're not in the clearing just yet. They still have a ways to go if they want to take the W in this series, but this will be a great opportunity to get themselves back up onto even footing here. We mentioned Ghost Town, just one of those maps where if you're the better team, you usually come out ahead here. So Horsemen showcasing that in the last round of it. This time we see a bit of a strange sight. Horsemen all four going very far down that zero line, and OBOV has been spotted, takes a shot for his trouble, but the other remain anonymous.
Interesting, a very aggressive push from the Horsemen on the defensive side here of Ghost Town, something that we don't see very often, pushing all the way out to that zero line. In the meantime, B Gaming on the offense, they pushed kind of right on towards that 2 flag. It doesn't look like they're actually going for a 2 flag cap, which is good in my opinion. Obviously that 2 flag just has those 4 entrances and 8 corners that you have to look at if you're trying to push it or if you're trying to cap it. So good move, but we are going to be seeing the Horsemen kind of mosey on down towards that 2 flag to see what their neighbours B Gaming are up to in there, and send a few shots their way.
Ripe off a very clutch win. We should have a much more animated Horseman as we go back in once more for a listen in with the boys on Horseman.
炮都亮他，你用炮都亮他就好。
去一台50B 到我下面来，我对面50B 可能要来找我了。
一就会支援你，我支援他也行。
没亮到。另外一台把 B0控好就可以了。
我看到 B0了，我看50B 了。
这样过不去啊，50B 那过不去了。
没，你慢一点，再过去就好。
要来找我。
他
从
这边反包围，你就在。
还没，我还没亮。
你们控制好这个路口就可以了，控制好这个路口。
你不要让他从这边过来就好，不要让他从这边过来。
没有，他从那边出来我一定知道，但是我可能会不见。
弹一上去给一下视野，自己卖头。
不见就算，可是你要给到资讯。
50B。
有2。
我还没亮。
漂亮。
先卡住自己位置，不要乱动就可以。
Definitely a more revitalized Horseman after that round as well. I did get confirmation that everything was working last time we went for the listen-in, but these guys may be just prone to long sounds of silence here, so not too much happened during that listen-in in terms of action. B Gaming on the offense, so the onus is on them to be the aggressors this time around. Horsemen quite content with resetting after their push down the zero line didn't go.
Yeah, there we go. So right now we are going to be seeing B Gaming just starting to get this 2 cap happening, which I'm not a big fan of. I
feel like it's the bait hill.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to do a lot of good baiting. But right now with T4 reloading in that E100. B Gaming just setting up to defend this 2 flag. Interesting little setup. They've got everyone apart from Happiness on the flag. And Shino Zach, I'm not even too sure where he is, what he's going to be protecting from all the way back there. But I guess right now they're just trying to bait Horsemen on towards that flag. And kind of staying as safe as they can while they do it.
Horsemen, they got all the time in the world, and by all the time in the world, I mean about a minute, to decide where they want to make their approach to retake that 2 flag. You can see Gorilla, he might be caught out here. He has a lot of eyes on him. Shinozaki getting that first shot, not going to do any damage just yet, but Gorilla, he gets the reset, and that's all he needed.
Yep, exactly. It's so easy to get the reset on that 2 flag. We also saw that 113's bouncy turret bounce a shell off that, well, the other 113 of Shinozaki there. As the first kill does actually go in favour of B Gaming. They take out Spencer.
Not the end of the world.
Tier 8. No, exactly.
Do take him down, so he's going to be not going to be getting the scouting out for him anymore. Big shot by Sphinx, but he takes one in return. Tiltil can't seem to land his mark right there. The E100 getting very, very low, but that's kind of its job here, but dying very early on in the round. Hopefully, that means that the majority of the other tanks are quite ripe on health. Tiltil doesn't really know where he's being shot from. Sphinx just getting work in right now. 3 seconds before his reload comes off, and he might even be taking him down.
Like, I don't understand the point of this. B Gaming, they've just, you know, had to fall out of that 2 flag. They've taken so much damage in doing so. They've lost their E100. They really have to try hard to win this fight.
Yeah, here comes the Kranvagen. Going to be getting the kill onto OBOV Hawks as well. Maybe the next one in here sights a good shot for 400, but now he's on that 30-second reload. He's been tracked as well as Archon. Just going to be turning him into scrap metal right now as this looks like once again B Gaming not doing 2 crash shot on Ghost Town as it is a 3 versus 4. So unless they can pull out something miraculous like Horseman did last round, which could be possible as it's now down to a 3v3, but we do see Rikusam go down.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing anything quite like last round here. Happiness is in that batch at 25T. Both of them are reloading, so it should be a fairly simple process, and I have no idea why they're trying to cap that one up at that point. I mean, everything's pretty much lost by now, but at the end of the day, we will be seeing Horsemen probably close it out fairly easily, unless Nandesu does a jump off the thing, which is not going to be happening. So Yusa Shen Power there going to be going down, and that is going to be it.
Yeah, Horsemen just riding that wave, taking it to them 3-3 now, 2-0 on Ghost Town. So big props to Horsemen for not losing confidence in themselves and going down 5-0, which was a very real possibility at one stage. So Horsemen, they're back in control of this game, and could potentially be seeing them turn the tables and end this series up with a 5-3.
It's looking a lot like that, and well, if they could turn this one around and end it as a 5-3, B Gaming are going to be so disappointed that they've come so close.
I honestly thought they were back. They were back on top. They look so strong on Prohorovka and on the side that they won on Cliffs. And it looks so good for them at one stage on Ghost Town as well. The second half, though, not so much.
Not so much, absolutely. So, well, that was Ghost Town for us, and I think B Gaming on that second half, like they went to the 2 flag, and I never, ever see what teams have in their minds when they think, oh yeah, let's put the 2 flag on Ghost Town attack. Yeah, that's a great idea, guys. Let's go into it. But because it never works. No, honestly.
I'm right on you with that one. I don't think we've ever seen it work through 2 seasons of WGL APAC so far. It's you gotta sit down and have a chat with these guys next time you're around, Alex. You're like, so tell me about that 2 flag push. And like, oh, it's great. You see, you go in, you get shot from every direction, you lose about half your health, your E100 goes down first, and you end up losing. And you'd be like, oh. So why? Oh, we don't know.
They probably played it in like a scrim and had their scrim partners disconnect, and they're like, yes, we capped it out. Yes.
Oh, it's always one of those funny things where it's like, they're like, no, it worked great in pub.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my mate told me it's a great strat, and he's like top 100 in his 1v1 division. It's just these outrageous claims that people make to why it's a good strategy.
Well, I wish we had 1v1 divisions in tanks. That'd be pretty amazing. But anyways, I think it is time to, well,
check out the as Jordan would say, as we digress, let's go check out the
replays.
Let's go check out the replays. You can see here that two flag just not working, getting shot from pretty much every single angle there. B Gaming then forced to make the play. You can see Happiness. I think he gets his kill onto Hawks before his impending doom. Didn't look too crash shot. They were able to get a kill onto Gorilla as well to tie it up in terms of tank numbers at the time. But like you mentioned in the broadcast, they were both down on reloads with no conceivable way of getting ammo back in time to fight.
There we go. So in the post-battle stats here, we can see Sphinx in that 113, dealing 4,500 damage. Happiness there in that Batshot AP with a solid 2.6k as well. So pretty fair effort there from Sphinx, and that's what happens when Mr. Sphinx doesn't get ammo racked.
That's it, right? When he's allowed to sit on the map and dish out damage for his entirety, he can really put up the numbers, which is why we've always been singing songs of praise for him joining the Horsemen. It's been a real step up that they've needed. So hopefully now, with Sphinx playing well and not meeting the bad end of RNG, they can continue this streak and take out the series quite handily. And if they could do it in a nice 5-3 fashion, I don't have to buy everyone Krispy Kreme. It's on the back of my mind here, Alex, I'm telling you.
Just secretly rooting it.
We have a very hungry production room back there, and they're ruthless.
Yep.
They're ruthless.
Yeah, no, they'll make you buy those Krispy Kremes.
Oh, no, without a doubt.
But anyways, T4, I think he might need to buy his team some Krispy Kremes because he's dealt 700 damage there in the E100, which...
Ooh.
I mean, like, that's what happened. He just sat in the 2 flag, and he's an E100. And there's no cover on the 2 flag, and he's an E100. So, like, and people came at him from 2 directions. And he's an E100.
We saw what happened last time an E100 had to deal with something coming at it from a different direction. It does not end well, but we have Mines coming up as the next map in this rotation here. So, unless it goes 1-1 apiece, we could be seeing a team walk away.
You see, that's the thing, it's Mines. And with the way that B Gaming have been playing tonight, I almost feel as though they could 2-0 it here. Like,
could be right.
Oh, it's so tricky, but then they just like do weird throwy stuff like that. I could have seen last season's B Gaming lose that Ghost Town with a weird 2 flag push on the attack. I can see that they did almost win that first half. So I still think that they're in the groove a little bit, just doing weird stuff that loses them the battle. But yeah, on Mines here, I feel as though it is going to be a struggle for the Horsemen to actually come out with any wins, but not undoable.
Yeah, we've got to take our minds back to Prokhorovka, where B Gaming 2-0'd them in a very convincing fashion. Remember, they came out of the gate strong, not dropping a single tank. So bring back that B Gaming and show us that level of play and coordination on Mines. And there's no reason, Alex, that they can't take it out in a very strong 2-0 fashion.
Yes, well, that is what I am going to be putting my money on, a Mines 2-0 here from B Gaming, which would make it a 5-3 to B Gaming. Of course, going against the grain of all of our predictions so far, which have well and truly favoured Horsemen. If B Gaming can do this, though, then, well, I would almost say immediately that they've recovered from their slump and, you know, made those required changes to their roster, putting Matil back in the Tier 8 or Tier 9 in some cases. Tank that, you know, he did do really well in that first season, putting T4 back in a Tier 10. I think those changes, just even 2 small roster changes or like kind of position changes like that.
A bit of a role swap.
Yeah, exactly. Can really have a big difference on the team.
Well, it's already showing because they've won 3 times more than they've won previously in any of our games, up to 3 apiece at the moment. So this is their first real shot at taking out a series that they've had all season long. So, like you mentioned, that role swap could be the push that they needed to get them over that line, because it's definitely paying off dividends and showing a night and day difference to their strategies.
Absolutely. So there we go. Speaking of night and day difference to their strategies, we might be seeing a night and day difference to the tanks picked here on Mines, of course, versus Ghost Town. Of course, we're going to be seeing lots of bat chats, probably lots of fast, medium tanks, maybe a couple of good hold downers. Could be seeing a Kranwagen or 2 thrown in here, I reckon, if we're lucky. Maybe a grill.
We have been seeing it quite consistently, and Big Gaming seem to be the ones that are adopting it out of these 2 rosters. So we have seen the Kranwagen do work, and we have seen it kind of fall below the grain just a little bit. So teams that can master the intricacies of this tank, like EL have, are going to be the ones to get themselves that early advantages that they bring, as we see the beautiful fly through of mines behind our beautiful heads.
Yes, that is right. I'll take it, Max. But
up late with tanks, mate. It's getting wild.
Up late with tanks, it sure is. And it is going to be getting more than wild on mines here. Because, of course, mines, the map where you want to control the central hill there where the mines are, essentially. Of course, that hill offers so much map control, so much vision. Let's see what these teams bring into it. Fairly standard stuff from both sides. Horsemen going with nothing too crazy. They've got the grill there, that tier 10 German tank destroyer for a bit of kind of long range punch. It's going to be sitting right at the back. Apart from that, nice fast lineup. B-Gaming going with lots of fast tanks. They've got the tier 10 auto-loading bat chats for a bunch of damage. The TVP as well as the T50, which, I mean, the T50 is not going to have any trouble going through anything on the Horseman side, so that should work out quite well for B-Gaming.
A lot of strengths here. Whether or not they can utilize them to perfection. When my mind takes me back to seeing how EL play this, it's fast and heavy. It is relentless, and that seems to be what B-Gaming are out with. Same with Horsemen. It is going to be absolute bloodbath straight off the initial. Gorilla gets taken down to about half, but so do Hawk and Icon. Looks like B-Gaming taking the favorable trade out of here. Gorilla,
Tiltil Matil's not even loaded yet.
Tiltil, what have you done? You've missed the mark here, but Gorilla, he goes down immediately. Sphinx, maybe the next one to follow, but Tacky, before he can even get a shot off, goes down. Tiltil finally, with some clips in the chamber, is able to get a kill.
Yeah, there we go, and he's going to be looking for a little bit more than that as Archon and Hawks, they're right around the corner. Tiltil should be able to get a few more there, but they're hiding behind the rocks. There's one. Oh, big shots coming out.
Yeah, this is looking good here for B-Gaming, coming out strong. 3k health pool advantage now. OBOV in a little bit of a tricky spot. Here comes Shino Zakat in the T50 as well to leave his mark on the map. The Grill 15 going to be left out to dry here. Only a matter of time before B-Gaming hunt down and destroy the remaining opponents. He scored it. This is a map that B-Gaming could potentially take the series out with a 2-0 and lead us to victory.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we are going to be seeing B-Gaming there moving up towards Archon, closing out the remaining 2 kills of the battle here. Both Nandesu and Hawks going to be going down very, very shortly after. And, well, B-Gaming, we know they're good at mines, but typically before we've seen them, go a little bit slower. They've just proven to us that they can take it out with a nice, fast, aggressive lineup as well. Great play from B-Gaming.
That was just action from the get-go, the type of tanks that gets the blood rushing. You saw 4 versus 4 immediately, and you mentioned the fight started before poor Till could even finish loading his ammo. Got to be a little bit quicker on the trigger finger next time there, mate, or that could have been the undoing for B-Gaming, but luckily for them, they were able to focus out Gorilla immediately, and by then, Hawks, he was half. I think another member in the early bat shots was down to about half, and Horsemen, they just couldn't recover from that deficit.
Yep, absolutely not. So a little bit disappointing there for the Horsemen that now they are on match point, but the great news is B-Gaming, they're coming away with this one with a point.
That's it, right? They're not slowing down. They're not letting those 2 losses on Ghost Town affect their confidence. They're coming in, backing themselves, because that's how you need to play at mines. When both teams going in strong, you really have to have confidence in one another to go for those plays, because you're putting pretty much everything out there on the line. You're setting yourself up very vulnerable, because if you're missing your shots, if your teammates are missing your shots, it can go from bad to worse. So a lot of trust being placed in their fellow tankers. So great stuff. Let's have a look at the replays. That was a quick round, so I'll be surprised if we don't just watch the whole thing again.
Yeah, that is right. So here we are. We did have Tacky, Tiltil Matil getting a few shots there early on. And that was Sphinx getting taken down right after that. Tiltil, he was a little bit late to reload, but once he did, he put out so much damage, and just great focus fire there from B-Gaming, and that's what the name of the game really is on mines. Nandesu getting set on fire, that didn't help either.
He was in no position to ever help out, because once they took a fight around the, funnily enough, the mines on the map, he really just couldn't get a vantage point, couldn't get an angle, couldn't get his sights set down, and poor Nandesu just left out to dry, taken out, destroyed even.
Yep, there we go. So on the post-battle stats, we do see that TVP T50, that was actually the Tier 9 T50 that dealt 3,500 damage. And I mean, I tell you what, after seeing Shinozaka score that, I wouldn't be too surprised to see a little bit more of the T50 here on Mines, because that is a crazy amount of damage.
Yeah, Nundasu as well, despite not being in the fight for the majority of it. When you're the last player left alive, it's a little bit easy to pad your stats. Him in the grill, getting himself about 3k damage. So definitely dishing it out when it mattered. Just unfortunately not enough. The rest of Tiltil, T4, and Unashan Power?
Usashan Power.
Power. I'm never going to get it. I'm going to practice it. I'm going to come back next broadcast. I'm going to nail it every time. You just watch. And Hawks and Collins rounding out that top 7.
Yeah, no, that's right. And on spots number 8 to 14, we can see Archon there in that Vat Chat, 1,200 damage. Overall, not a bad kind of lay of the lower damage spots. We did see Taki on the bottom there with only 1 shot, but I think he did get primaried out fairly early on by the Horsemen, so sometimes just can't win them all. Spencer in the T49 might have liked a slightly higher roll or a penetration on his 2 shots that he fired, but it's not to beat, so he ends that one with 485 damage.
I've always felt, to me, Mines is one of those maps that has the most amount of variance in terms of aggression. We've seen it go all the way down to the last few seconds, more times than most maps, and we've seen it be over in about a minute. So you can either go for those boosts, maybe go around the lighthouse, through the shores, try to get a flank there. We've seen artilleries, we've seen grills, we've seen a couple of E100s as well. There's a lot of variance that goes into playing Mines. So I wouldn't be surprised if we could see something completely different, maybe coming out of Horsemen, considering that recent performance.
Yeah, potentially. I think Horsemen, they've just tried that aggression. Maybe now that they are on the attacking side.
Yes, correct.
They could take things a little bit slower.
Correct.
I think you're right, exactly. So, they could go for something like maybe a grill on the attack, or maybe even an FE215B183 or an FE405, which we have seen previously on Mines. They could go for something like a mouse. They could go for some heavier tanks. Lots of options that they could be going with here on the attack. Although I think, again, on the other side, on the flip side, BGaming, now that they're on the defense, we've seen them pick Mouses before on the defense quite often. They could go with a grill, they could go with any number of things.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about Mines as well. It's got so many different aspects to it. You've got the little town secluded just off to the side. You've got that ever-coveted hill/mines area where we saw the bloodbath before. But if you're feeling cheeky, if you're feeling like flanking, there's always the shoreline you can sneak through. We've seen Wargaming as well abuse some of those boosts early on. If you're feeling confident in the bat shots, you can just kind of go up there, sidetrack along the side mountain, go up. But let's wait no further. We'll get into the tank lineups to see what we could be seeing for our last match here.
And there we go. So we have got an M40, M43. So BGaming going to be going with that artillery piece on the defense. Right. And well, hopefully they can actually make some shots count. Pretty light lineup on the opposing side. Horsemen, they've only got that 2 heavy tanks, the 113 and the WZ111. But overall, fairly standard, fairly solid lineup there from both teams, I think. I do like the WZ111 there. I would like to see Horsemen actually push the hill with that and really try and own that hill early on. Interested to see whether BGaming let them do that, or whether BGaming are a little bit more chill.
I feel like they have to be. They only really have 5 brawling tanks here. The Grill and the Artie aren't going to be the ones getting in the thick of the fight. So, how will Horsemen go about expecting the slow play? Looks like they may be going for a coastal push around the lighthouse.
Yeah, it's something like that. The Horsemen there going with a quite fast coastal push there around the lighthouse, and heading it down towards those 2 BGaming members. We can see Archon there, maybe getting a few shots across. So you can see that Archon, not actually spotted out just yet, but now he is. So go Hawks as well.
BGaming, Shinozaka taking a little bit of a beating, but so did Spencer. Both in the bat shots, but Spencer in that tier 9. So not as valuable. Have to see what BGaming decide to chuck their forces in. Can Horsemen abuse the setup here with that Artie as well as the Grill? Or is BGaming accuracy just going to be on point?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. B Gaming needs to be on point right here with their shots. But I do think I like this from B Gaming. This early setup, they've got control of the hill, and that is always very, very important. They're getting a few shots across with their artillery. You know, they've got these bat chats on the hill. They've got T4 on the hill as well. So it is going to be hard for the Horsemen to kind of dethrone this or try and make any real cap work. Taki is the one from B Gaming on the most danger at the moment down in that H2 area.
He's got Shinazaka to back him up as well, but it looks like a 2v2 down, like you said, in that H area. I wonder who will come out ahead on that one, but we see the play maybe coming up from Horsemen to get control of the mine area. Happiness is up there, and here it comes. Horsemen, 3 tanks. It's going to be Sphinx taking a huge shot in the side. That's 500, 900 damage now. Rickerson adding to the DPS. They don't know that Happiness is there, and their guns, the barrels are facing the wrong way. Happiness, you need to make your play, and you need to make it now. Your team needs you, because Rickerson, he can't hold by himself. Archon gets the first blood onto Shinazaka. T4 goes down as well. Where are the rest of B Gaming's armies?
Oh, I'm not sure, but they need to get in there very, very soon. They need to start taking down some of the Horsemen's tanks, because right now, B Gaming, they are losing tanks left, right, and center. Only 4 tanks left on the field, and, well, about 2.5, well, just less than that, 1,000 HP down from the Horsemen right now.
Oh, this is looking bad for B Gaming. They had an excellent setup. I feel like Happiness, if he had gone in on the flank when Rickerson was holding the front, then they may have been able to take out those 2 tanks, but a huge shot onto Gorilla gets him quite low. Spencer as well. Rickerson is able to pick up the kill onto Sphinx as well, so B Gaming with the potential to turn it around. They kill Gorilla. It is a 4 versus 4 right now, but Archon, he's gone for the flank onto the grill. Nandasu straight up in his grill, respectively here. He gets 1 shot off, dealing a massive 830, but now this could be the end as Horsemen looking to tie up the series here.
Yeah, there we go. Horsemen are going to be trying their best to end this one out and take out the 2 remaining tier 10s on the B Gaming side. Riku Sam in that 113, only on 1293 HP. Happiness has just gone down, so it should be a simple end here for the guys on Horsemen. As Riku Sam goes down, B Gaming, look, they've got to be pretty disappointed. This is one of their favourite maps here on Mines.
I'm pretty disappointed. That's a box of Krispy Kremes.
There you go.
Oh, well, it's all a bit of fun here. And Horsemen and B Gaming, they're giving us an excellent series, so I can't be too upset about that one. OV should have no trouble taking him out. Or maybe a little bit here as Rickerson does get tracked, but the last remaining member, once he goes down, is Colin in the Artie. So he's not long for this world either. Spencer should have no trouble hunting him down as a 3 versus 1. 400 HP remaining for the B Gaming pool. He tries to go for a huge shot, but nicks him here. Don't like the Artie choice, really.
Yeah, you don't like the Artie choice?
I feel like very rarely does it pay off for teams.
Yeah, well,
More times than not, it doesn't work.
It's a bit unfortunate because I'm a big fan of the Artie, but
It's not that I'm not a fan of it, just in competitive play where teams know how to abuse it. More times than not, like sometimes we see the damage stats being put up, but it's always on the losing side, and you always wonder what could have looked different if that had been another tank.
Yeah, if that had
Another
been an RU251 or a AMX 1390 or something like that, exactly. Even a WZ132, which we're seeing more and more, of course. But either way, that is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and
the donut crumbles, mate.
The donut crumbles. There you go.
Enough donut jokes. We're going to be... Congratulations to Horsemen for tying up the series. After being down quite a deficit, it's no easy feat. So they'll be going on to the tiebreaker here. I have to double check what map that was, as we do got to find out which team is on attack and which team is on defense, as the fastest round gets dibs.
I believe actually tiebreaker map is Muravanka today. I think. I hope I'm not wrong there, but yeah, pretty sure Muravanka that we'll be heading out towards now. So it is a map that we obviously haven't seen between these 2 teams yet. So I'm quite liking it. It should really shake it up a little bit, and a map which I'm not too sure who would have vetoed it. Generally, both of these teams aren't massive fans of Muravanka. I personally feel as though it leans more towards the Horsemen side. They have generally picked it a little bit more than B Gaming. I think almost every game last season, B Gaming vetoed out Muravanka. So interested to see how it goes.
And we'll keep you guys updated. It's B Gaming actually with the choice of where they want to play on Muravanka, whether it be the attack or defense. It was that last round just then on Myers that netted them that with 1:40 on the clock for them. So, clinching that one away in the end.
Yeah, clinching the fastest win, of course, and that's how it works. But let's take a look at that last one on Mines, of course, to see how everyone dealt in the damage stats. That Grill 15 of Yusashan Power. Don't worry, I'll say this one.
Thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate it.
3.1 thousand damage. And Riku Sam, who always seems to end up the last person alive on B Gaming side.
Got great survival instincts, I'll tell you.
Yeah, great survivability, exactly. 2.5 thousand damage in the 113, but overall you can see all of Horsemen's members grouped up, and I always like that when you see a team grouped up on the damage stats. It means that they're a team of champions.
That's it, right? They're all pulling their weight. There's no true star here. The true star is the team itself.
Exactly.
So props once again to Horsemen, because they were at quite a deficit, 3-1. It's no easy hole to climb out of, and it's been a long one. We still got one more series ahead of us tonight, but I have a feeling that might be a little bit of a closer one. But you never know that the Karen Tigers might have something up their sleeve for EL Gaming. But just did get confirmed that it will be B Gaming playing on defense on Muravanka.
Okay, B Gaming on the defense. I think that definitely favors them more than the attack on Muro. They do feel like a little bit more of a defense-oriented team on maps like Muravanka, where they can pick those slightly heavy attacks and kind of dictate the flow of play a little bit more. But we'll have to wait and see whether that does come into fruition or not. Next up on Muro, but I never expected this one to go to a tiebreaker. So
Neither did I. That's why I made the bet.
Yeah.
But look, it's Muro is a tricky little map as well. We've seen it time and time again not play out the way that a lot of people have predicted. So it's kind of up in the air right now between which teams are which of these two teams take it. Both have shown greatness tonight. Both have shown very big mistakes. Think back to Cliff for Horsemen and Ghost Town for B Gaming.
Ghost Town for B Gaming. Seriously, this has been a lesson on what not to do tonight for some of those maps, like that 3v6 on or whatever it was in Ghost Town, the 4v2, something like that.
And the Cliffs that Horsemen let time out as well.
Exactly. So definitely some sloppy play between both of these two teams. No, look, we have seen some good plays, some good strategies coming out of B Gaming, particularly earlier on Prokhorovka. We saw some solid 1-2 line pushes and 1-2 line defenses, but right now none of that matters. It is all down to this. It is time to press the reset button on everything right now, because this is it. Whoever wins this one wins the series, gets the 2 points for winning the tiebreaker. The other one doesn't walk home empty-handed, but walks home with 1 point, as is our tiebreaker kind of ruling here. So
great consolation prize for being able to make it all the way this far in the series. So once again, congratulations for both teams for netting themselves at least 1 point tonight. But of course, there can only be one victor to walk away with ever so coveted 2 points. And Muravanka, like we've mentioned, is a tricky little map here that often blows our predictions out the water. But like you said, it does the defense maybe favoring B Gaming here, and they do have the advantage of being able to decide that one with that very fast round on Mines, netting themselves the ability to choose what side they pick. So expect them to take a very good amount of time deciding what tanks they're going to be rolling out with.
Yes, absolutely. They'll definitely be thinking about this, because B Gaming want their first kind of points on the board. They want to get these 2 points. They don't want to be sitting right down near the bottom with just 1 point on the board. I think we have seen so far B Gaming really struggle. Are they going to be able to pull through in this one and actually pull through with the win for their first win of season 2? Hard to say. I think I'm going to be going with a B Gaming win by that much.
By a hair. I feel like I have to agree with you. I feel like tonight B Gaming have played like the better team. Their blunder wasn't as massive as that timed out round by the Horsemen, who spent about 8 minutes deciding whether or not they wanted to wait for their Artie to make the play or just make it themselves. Another stand-up moment. Why I'm not too fan of the Artie. A lot of teams do put a bit too much prevalence towards it. But we're jumping into Muravanka for the last map here. Like you said, reset button. One game to decide who takes those 2 points, who walks away with one regardless. At the end of the night, we're all winners here for being able to watch B Gaming being competitive once again.
Absolutely, and here we go. We have the final tanks locked in here for this half on Murabanka. And the Horsemen are going to be bringing in a few interesting picks there. They've got that Object 432, that very high penetration, fast moving Soviet medium tier 9 tank to go along with the Batchat 25D AP. We've got the Kranwagen as well in there, that Swedish tier 10 heavy tank with that 1600 damage autoloader. Nice strong frontal turret. In the meantime, B-Gaming going fairly standard. They've got the, I think the T110E5 there on Rikisam. Be solid lineup on both sides, actually.
Yeah, it looks like quite an even disperse out from both teams here. Maybe Horsemen clustering a little bit more than the side of B-Gaming. Tiltil and Hawks. Hawks actually getting spotted out quite early. Maybe your boy Tiltil finding that one. Power as well. Spencer spots him out, so Tiltil just going to do a 180 head on home.
Yeah. Right now, we do see B-Gaming going for a very intriguing strategy.
Bit of a wraparound
defense. Yeah, a bit of a wraparound. We don't often see defenders go into the Magic Forest, but yeah, going to be heading in there. Of course, that forest does offer lots of kind of mysterious properties like extra camo when you're in there.
It looks like they could be going for the right hook here if they head towards that side of the map and go in, but Horsemen will be doing the sirens here. That means that one person is on the hill. That's just going to force B-Gaming, force their hand a little bit earlier than they may have liked. You can see quite a wide spread along the diagonal line here for B-Gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. Very widespread. I'm not too sure where B-Gaming are going to kind of clamp down with their pincer, but they have to start thinking about it soon because this cap pressure is starting to build here from the Horsemen, just ticking up towards 30% right now with that Kranwagen on the cap. Got Tiltil Matil back in that tier 8 light tank. The RU-251 spotting out the cap. B-Gaming. T4 is getting very, very close, and some of their other tanks just edging towards. Good reset.
Tiltil gets that one with a little flick in the back, only doing 76 damage. Can't really expect more out of your boy Tiltil, but the reset, that's what he's there for. Sphinx getting spotted out as well as Hawk, so they know where a few members of the Horsemen are. Will this be what the information that B-Gaming needed to go for the bush here? Sphinx, that building not as destructible as he had of hoped. T4's up quite far as well. Should OB, OV, and Nundasu spot them out, they could pincer on him.
They could, absolutely, but it's looking like right now T4 is going to be pushing up very, very fast and hard. Might have been a little bit of a mistake there because he's taken a lot of damage.
Once he's spotted out, the pincer coming in, getting shot from all angles, needs to find some protection, but Camo, it doesn't stop bullets. Hawks gets the first kill onto Tiltil. Not too much of a loss right now, but if B-Gaming lose anything more, it could be bad. Nondasu falls for the side of Horsemen. Where are the rest of the players going to be going? Looks like B-Gaming starting to disperse, angle out. T4 trying to win the 1v against OBOV. Archon gets a shot onto Taki. T4 finds the kill he was looking for. Now we see a 5 versus 5, but B-Gaming, they're down about 2,000 HP to Horsemen.
Yeah, this is looking good for the Horsemen right now. They've taken out some crucial members of B-Gaming, but they need to keep taking those guns off the field. A couple of the Horsemen members are on the reload right now, but well, it's looking like the next one to fall might be from B-Gaming, but no, Karula in the Kranwagen has to reload.
Oh, this could be good, T4. He needs to go in huge, but Hawks with the shot from the side is able to take him down. Now he's got his sights set onto Rikisam, and a huge double kill coming up for Hawks with the Batchat. He's got 2 shots left in the chamber. Spencer, he's going to go down to power as he needs just 1 more, but that's going to put him on the reload here. A 3 versus 4, but Sphinx, he's very, very low. 1 more shot out of Hawks is all he has before he goes on the reload timer. If he misses this one onto Happiness, it could be a disaster.
Yeah, it could be right now, but
not going to matter.
No, not going to matter at all as Archon takes out the kill, and now B-Gaming only have 2 tanks left. Look, yeah, some of the Horsemen are damaged, but this should be a simple matter of cleanup now for the Horsemen here, and wow, there you go.
Flew too close to the sun,
yep,
and the wax winged burnt, and B-Gaming come crumbling down. Unfortunately, losing out on this tiebreaker, Horsemen should have no difficulty cleaning up Shinazaka, the last player left alive on the map. He might go try to get a return kill on either Sphinx or Archon, but it's all for naught. It's all for 1 point in the end of the day as they get a little bit of something for making it this far. So great stuff out of Horsemen to take it back from a 3-1 deficit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can really see B Gaming's lack of confidence in this map in Muravanka here. Just showing in that game, because that was a very weird push they tried to get in. You know, we very rarely see teams, particularly on the defensive side, push through the Magic Forest, and B Gaming, they just looked a little bit split up. Maybe if they'd all gone through the Magic Forest and curved around to the top with, you know, all 6 or like 6 members apart from Tiltil to reset the cap, maybe that would have worked a little bit better. But as it stands, they just all kind of went into, you know, all across that upper hill line near the flag in just different areas. Didn't focus fire too well. Horsemen were able to get those kills because they were all clumped together, focus firing properly. At the end of the day, B Gaming take the loss.
Unfortunate stuff for B Gaming. I really had high hopes for them after their very strong start to the series. But once again, congratulations to Horsemen being able to kind of knuckle down, consolidate themselves, not get too down and out, because it is very difficult when you're down 3-1 in a series to stay positive, to stay motivated, to keep on playing. But in the end, it goes to show why it's worth it, taking the series out in a very, very close 5-4 fashion. Got to think back to Ghost Town. If that round was on a knife's edge, we could be singing a different song, telling a different tale, and praising B Gaming for being back.
Yep. One shot was all that it would have taken there on Ghost Town, but of course hindsight is 2020 there, and well, they gave it a good crack anyway. They are improving, which is what we like to see. Speaking of improving, let's see how the Horsemen improved upon B Gaming's strategy there in that last map, Muravanka. I think this one, yeah, OBOV just getting taken out by T4. Krilla in the Kranwagen. He was looking a little bit dodgy until Hawks kind of saved him from T4. And then, yeah, this was it. The use of Shan Power just getting rammed it up.
That looks brutal.
Yeah.
Great stuff coming in from Horsemen. Hawks really stepping up in the middle there. It looked like Gorilla on the reload was done for. Then all of a sudden, here comes Hawks. Guardian Angel, Guardian Batshat coming in from the side, picking up a nice double, and getting himself on the top of the tables because of it.
There we go. So Hawks doing a good job there up the top. 3,200 damage to Yusha Shampower as well, with just about 3.2k. The Kranwagen for Gorilla didn't do too badly, 2.8k. Managed to stay alive for quite a while, get 3 reloads of that clip off, as well as he's fired 10 shots. But overall, I think Horsemen just staying a little bit more tight-knit, obviously a little bit more experienced on that Muravanka. And it pulled them through in the end. And on 8 to 14 on the damage stats, we can see their happiness with 1,200 damage in that bat chat. Spencer with 1.1k, so nothing too crazy up the top. And unfortunately, Taki in that TVP got primary down first.
Yeah.
Great move from Horseman, taking down that super high damage dealer and making sure he only dealt 320 damage.
Yeah, that was it, right? They focused their fire very, very well, made sure that all the targets, all the primary targets were taken out right on the spot, didn't allow him to get off more than a few shells, and even still the ones he got off, only a few connected out of that. So, once again, Horsemen really stepping up their game. They look quite shaky from the start, and B Gaming showed up.
They showed up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, 100%. And if that B Gaming continues to improve like bit by bit,
Horsemen are a very strong roster. Let's not get this wrong. They're in our top 3 contenders at the moment. So B Gaming, after an abysmal start to the season, being able to take Horsemen all the way, narrowly edging out that 4-5 loss for themselves. You got to think B Gaming could be back, taking good strides. Tiltil back on a smaller tank. You've got T4 back on some of the more tier 10 higher scaling ones. So it's great to see them kind of going back to their roots, going back to what worked, and hopefully we see them going back to the top of the leaderboard any day now.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, hopefully might cut it eventually if they keep on improving.
Hope gets people a long way, Alex.
There you go.
Jordan will tell you otherwise, though. Don't listen to him.
Yes, well, rebellions are built on hope as well. So I think now B Gaming, they've probably lost a little bit of that after that one, but they do need to keep their chins up and be happy that they've kind of come back from what has been a shocking start to the season for them. And they've come back in some way, at least. They've got a point on the board.
Yeah.
They've taken it to a pretty top team in this competition in Season 2 here. And yeah, that's just about it, I guess. They can't be too disappointed.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, going from 3-5-1 losses to going for a 5-4 against one of the top teams, that is showing improvement. Let's have a quick look at the post-game statistics to see who your real heavy hitters were across that 9-game series.
Yeah, there we go. So Nandesu on the Horsemen side. Look, he was a big star player for them in Season 1, and it is no different in Season 2 here with him dealing 2.2 thousand damage across that match. Yusa Power as well, big shout out to him. He was a big player there for B Gaming and kept them in it in lots of games with very consistent performance, and no surprise, Mr. Sphinx, XEL up the top there with 1865 average damage as well.
Yeah, being able to see how the high damage averages across those long games is very becoming as well, because it's very difficult to perform 9 games consecutively. So if you're putting up those huge damage numbers, then great stuff. Colin, having a rough one tonight though.
Yeah,
having a bit of a rough one.
That was very rough from Mr. Colin there.
Getting out damaged by Tiltil. It's not what you like to see.
Yeah, Tiltil, Shinozaka, and T4. I mean, honestly, anyone getting out damaged by Tiltil is a little bit worrying. Because Tiltil obviously being that tier 8 light tank player, but Shinozaka was quite close, I guess. And Tiltil, honestly, he's great at tier 8 light tanks, so
Really
I hope
is.
B Gaming can keep on putting him into him.
Oh yeah, it's obvious where some of their issues lie, and if anything, since it's a much more competitive game, it's going to be a lot easier to spot what went wrong. Because when you're getting slaughtered and everything's going wrong, it's really hard to pinpoint the exact offenses that you need to kind of fine-tune. But going over this series against a very competitive team, they'll be able to look back, look what Horsemen did, look how they abused their setups, look how they beat them, and hopefully come back as